And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with part 2 of my 5-part tier list series. This time, we're tackling shooting guards in NBA 2K21 My Team. Before we get started, man, drop a like, comment down below with what you think of the tier list at the end of this video. Other than that, if you're new to the channel, man, subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I know that sounds super poor, but I kind of need it, so... Anyways, before we get started, S tier, unquestionably best cards in the game, and I will explain why they're there. A tier, basically the same as S tier, just one little step below. Still, either one of these S tier, A tier guys, if they're on your team, they make it drastically better just by being there. B tier, incredibly good cards. They will improve your team significantly, but obviously the A and S tier guys are ahead of them. C tier, good cards. They're good at a few things. They'll definitely help, especially situationally and doing certain things for your team. D tier, if you're good with them, definitely use them, but there are guys that I would recommend above them, obviously C, B, A, and S tier. And then F tier, guys I would just completely avoid, to be honest with you. I'm not really a huge hater, so there's not usually too many people in F tier as far as the tier list that I do. But with that being said, let's get started with our first guy, Tony Allen. Tony Allen is 100% F tier. There is no question about it. Like I said, if you've watched my channel at all, I don't hark on the fact that cards can't shoot very well or can't shoot at all, but when cards can't shoot, they can't dribble, and they can do nothing outside of playing defense, and they don't even have clamps, kind of not really a great card. And look, I'm not a stickler. If a card doesn't have clamps, I'm not going to knock it, but if it can't do anything else and it doesn't have any of the really important defensive badges as well, F tier. Allen Iverson. He's C. I like AI a lot, but it's kind of hard to do shooting guards because you have to sit here and be like, all right, well, they play shooting guard and point guard. Do I rank them playing point guard or do I rank them playing shooting guard? So it's kind of tough. I mean, obviously primary positions only, but at the same time, you have to kind of factor in the fact that my man can play point guard and he plays it pretty well. That being said, I mean, he's a really great scorer. He's small. He doesn't play great defense, and I just think everyone that's in B tier is kind of a better option at the shooting guard position. Anthony Edwards. So I would say C tier. When we're looking at a fully evoed Anthony Edwards, he's up on a Amethyst. He's a good card, but that being said, he's not a great card, if that makes sense. He's just a pretty good card. When you really truly look at it, having him evoed, you can give him the shooting upgrade, which is the one that I recommend doing. It buffs his 3-point up to an 86, which is huge, and then it gives him like gold, Hall of Fame difficult shots, gold catch and shoot, gold hot zone hunter, silver range, volume shooter gold. You also get some defensive badges with clamps, off ball pest, pick dodger. Clamps is silver, lightning reflexes as well. The thing is, you can't upgrade badges, so what he has is what you get. And he's just kind of a basically good shooting guard. Like, he's 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan, got a big body, plays a little defense. If you upgrade him the right way, he can shoot pretty decent. If you are getting him off of the auction house, you may have to look to make sure he doesn't have the athletic badge or the athletic upgrade. He does get one additional Hoff badge, so he'll have one Hoff badge if he's shooting, 2 athletic. To be honest with you, though, it just makes more sense to get the shooting one, just because he goes up in such shooting stats and his driving dunk and stuff like that stay pretty similar, so I would go that route. Next up, we got Austin Carr. Austin Carr is actually pretty good, and he has a dynamic duo with Bingo Smith. Granted, you're running like a really small shooting guard and a really small forward. He has amazing speed, and with that duo, he's probably a C or a B tier guy. But without that duo, I would say that D tier is kind of right for him. He's really, really fast. He doesn't shoot very well. He handles the ball okay. He's just pretty decent. There's better options. I would rather use these guys than Austin Carr personally. Next up, we got Kyle Korver. He's C tier. The reason for that is just because he's an incredibly good shooter. He's Kyle Korver. Obviously, he's not bringing you anything else. You know what? I'd probably put him down in D tier, to be honest with you. I like this Kyle Korver card a lot, and he's great in certain situations, but realistically, when you look at it, he can do one thing, and that's shoot. He can play a tiny bit of defense if you're controlling him, and the only reason that is because he's got decent size. But he fits the parameters of D tier. He's good at one or two things, and then he's just not really usable at anything else. Next up, we got Jeff Hornacek. Jeff Hornacek's just a worse version of Kyle Korver. Like, he can only shoot, but he doesn't even have the shooting badges. He's small. He's got a little bit of speed, but he doesn't play any defense. He's going to get bodied pretty much 9 times out of 10. And when you could go buy Kyle Korver for 2,000 MT, there's really no point in even running Jeff Hornacek. That's why I'd put him at F tier. That being said, I like Jeff Hornacek. I like his jump shot and stuff, but if I'm being realistic, Kyle Korver is obviously better than him, which means they cannot be on the same tier. Luka Doncic. Luka's kind of tough. I mean, he's definitely B tier. Like, he's definitely better than Allen Iverson and Anthony Edwards. I don't like his slow jump shot, but he gets to the rim really well. He can facilitate. He's got good badges. He's got great size. There's nothing negative I can say about Luka Doncic. I just think the guys in A and S tier are just better than him in general. Next up, we got Rip Hamilton. You know what? I love Rip Hamilton, but at this stage in the game, like, he's definitely D tier. He's just outdated. There's nothing wrong with the card whatsoever. I like him a lot, but just badges-wise, he's a little outdated. He's very similar to Kyle Korver. He basically can only shoot, but he shoots a little bit worse than Kyle Korver, but he also can drive a little bit better and play a little bit better defense. That being said, can I tell you that he's better or even on the same level as a fully evolved Anthony Edwards? No. Bradley Beal. Dude, Bradley Beal is really good, but at the same time, like, I'm not insane. I'm not going to say that a Sapphire Bradley Beal is as good as these guys. But that being said, he's one of the best and most well-rounded Sapphires in the entire game. That is undisputable. We got our first denizen of S tier. That's J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith is absolutely incredible. He's way too expensive. I do not recommend anybody at all, lock in for this card. But I can't, especially at this stage when we got so many good shooting guards and wings coming. 2K's been just dropping so many of them, but stats-wise, he's absolutely incredible. He can run rim. He's got decent speed at 86. He's got good finishing badges that allow him to run the rim. He's got Hall of Fame flexible and Hall of Fame range extender, which is absurd. He doesn't have Deadeye, but you can improve it. Same with Hot Zone Hunter. He's got elite hot zones. He pretty much has hot zones everywhere except for mid-range to the left. And then he also has like gold clamps, gold interceptor. He does everything. He's a 5-tool shooting guard. He can handle the ball. He plays defense. He can shoot. He can dunk. He can run the fast break. He can do pretty much everything. It's kind of hard to really discredit this card at all. Jeff Malone. Jeff Malone's B tier, dude. He's literally a Tracy McGrady clone. He's super solid. I really like Jeff Malone. It's kind of surprising. My only knock against him is just that he's a little bit small and he's a little bit hot zones are not great. The hot zones are better for like, say, a small forward, but being 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan, he's just not really like big enough to play small forward. Other than that, not many knocks. He's got great badges. He's got that Hall of Fame hot zone hunter, but unfortunately his hot zones like aren't that good. And his defensive badges could be a little bit better, but for a free card, if you're using Jeff Malone's incredible. Highly recommend grabbing him. Brian Winters. Brian Winters is okay. I put him at C tier. He's like a better version of like Rip Hamilton or Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver is definitely a better shooter at this stage in the game than Brian Winters. You know what? I'll probably put him right next to Kyle Korver. I don't think there's much of a difference between these two guys, honestly. Brian Winters like runs rim a little bit better and plays defense a little bit better, but he lacks the shooting badges that Kyle Korver has. Next up, Manu. Manu's B tier. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's recency bias or what, but nobody seems to give Manu respect as a card. But he's absolutely incredible. His jump shot is really good. He's got really incredibly good dribble moves, and not only that, they're really easy to perform, so people who aren't like top tier dribblers will still be able to dribble with Manu. In addition, he plays decent defense. He's got good defensive badges. You can upgrade good badges on him. You can't give him range extender, so automatically everybody thinks he sucks just based on that. You don't fucking need range extender that bad. Alright, ran over. Anyways, really good card. I think B tier is appropriate for him, and you can get him for 50k. It's absurd. Also, heads up, if you did buy a bunch of Manus because I told you to, just wait a couple weeks. I promise you'll make your money back, dude. Once that lock-in comes out and everybody sold their Manus thinking they could pick them back up for 50k, they're in for a fucking treat because they're not going to be able to pick them up for 50k because I have 7 of them and they'll be charging minimum 100k for them. Next up, we got Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's D tier. He deserves to be right next to Bradley Beal, Rip Hamilton, Kyle Korver. They're all really similar. Byron Scott. I like Byron Scott, but it's not like I can sit here and tell you he deserves to be on the same tier as Allen Iverson and Anthony Edwards. It's just not the case. Like, simply not the case. He's a great guard, but these budget sniper guys all deserve to be kind of right next to each other. Campy Russell is really good. He's got a big body at 6'7". He plays the 2 guard. He can shoot a little bit, but there's really nothing special about him. He's just an okay reward card. CJ McCollum, he's a great shooter. He's better than all these guys at shooting. Plus, he can operate, rim running. He can facilitate. He can play a tiny bit of defense. He's really similar to AI. It just depends if you like Trey Burke base or McCollum's base. A little bit better, who I believe McCollum has. Hold on, let me look it up. I'm not 100% sure what his base is. Jump shot 4. So he's got the same as like Devin Booker, Mike, and Latrell Sprewell. Next up, we got Catino Mobley. Catino Mobley's C tier as well. He's actually really similar to CJ McCollum. Everything I said about CJ goes double for Catino Mobley, but in my opinion, Catino Mobley has a better jump shot. Could be wrong, but Daryl Griffith, he deserves to be C tier too. He's a pretty good reward card, just nothing like completely special about him. Monte Ellis. Oh, you knew this was coming. Monte's going A tier, dude. I'm sorry, he is. He shoots. He has like a ridiculously, he's like a 98 vertical, dude. He has like a 98 driving dunk. He dunks on literally everybody. He has a wet jump shot. He's running Trey Burke base, which is automatically fucking sick. He's got good dribble sigs. He does pretty much everything, dude. He's a glitch card. There's nothing wrong with Monte. And to be honest with you, just to sweeten the pot, my man's going for like 70K right now. And he's got literally the most elite hot zones in the game. He has like every hot zone. Never mind, he does not have Trey Burke base. I apologize. I was thinking about someone else. He has Stephen Curry with Carmelo upper, but he doesn't step over the line on the corners like Carmelo does every time. But he's got 7 Hall of Fame badges, all finishing. Good shooting badges too. You can upgrade his silver range. You can upgrade a lot of his defensive badges, but he does come standard with bronze clamps, so he can play a little bit of defense. He does pretty much everything. I just think the guys in S tier are more elite. And obviously, I'm biased. I love Monte Ellis, so. David Thompson. In my opinion, David Thompson is a worse version of Daryl Griffith. I don't think these guys are really too different in the way they play, and I think David Thompson's probably worse, but they probably deserve to be right next to each other. Steve Smith. Steve Smith is he's just not a very good 3-and-D wing. He's okay, but he's not good. Dell Curry. Dell Curry is a better version of these guys down here. Him and Catino Mobley and CJ McCollum are all pretty fucking similar. Hal Greer. Hal Greer's actually okay. He's decent. He's got good badges. He has an okay jump shot. He's nothing crazy, but he's good. James Harden. James Harden's D tier. I mean, Buddy Hield, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Rip Hamilton, Kyle Korver, they're all basically the fucking same. In my opinion, anyway. Demar Derozan. Demar Derozan's actually C tier. I don't care if he can't shoot threes. He does everything else really, really well. So yeah, he has that one knock that he can't shoot threes, but he dribbles well, he plays defense, he shoots and lights out mid-range, so all you have to do is just not shoot threes. He's almost unstoppable attacking the rim, and he's got a huge frame for a shooting guard. And the fact that you can put this dude up for 8K, that's absolutely fucking insane. Next up, we got, well, you knew this was coming, Tracy Mcgrady, A tier. The only thing that's keeping him out of S tier is his lack of defensive badges. That's literally it. If he had clamps and a few other defensive badges, that would have been very helpful. He would be an S tier, but he's just not as good as J.R. Smith. Honestly, J.R. Smith does everything T-Mac does, but even more. And that hurts me to say, because if you know my channel, I'm a T-Mac stan to the absolute fullest. So putting him down in A tier actually hurts my soul. Sam Jones. Sam Jones is like B tier. He's actually really good. I'm just not a huge fan of Sam Jones in game, but his jump shot's pretty good. He does a little bit of everything. Michael Cooper. C tier. He's really good, and this is one of my favorite cards all year, but at the same time, just because he has Hall of Fame clamps doesn't deserve B tier at this stage. I don't think he's on the same tier as these guys. They just have a more complete game. Michael Cooper's just a 3-and-D guy. A good 3-and-D guy, but I don't think he's really B tier at this stage. Devin Booker. I really don't like Devin Booker, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's any lower than B tier. He deserves to be right here with these guys. I just don't think he's worth his price tag, personally. Shea Gildress Alexander. Yeah, this dude's actually kind of tough to rank, but I think he deserves to be C tier. He's just bang average, to be honest with you. He's just okay. Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson is an elite card. I will say that right off the bat. He's an excellent budget card. Can I actually truly tell you he's as good as these guys? No. Would I take him on my team over Devin Booker? Absolutely. And that's because I like Nick Anderson a lot. He's got good size. He's got great badges, everything. It's just like trying to be unbiased as possible. Like, can I tell you he's better than Devin Booker? I don't think he is. Like, I really don't. Nick Anderson kind of has spotty hot zones. He doesn't really have the best badges in the world. Granted, he's got good shooting badges and bronze clamps. But Devin Booker just has a more complete game than Nick Anderson. Granted, I like Nick Anderson a lot. And I will say if this was me being biased, he'd be up in like B or A tier just for the fact that he's a Ruby that can play in the same games with pink diamonds and hold his own. But realistically, Desmond Mason. Desmond Mason and Demar Derozan probably deserve to be like right next to each other. They're both decent. They're both big body shooting guards. They both really can't shoot the three, but they both are unstoppable in every other aspect. So next up, we got Jason Richardson. He's B tier, and the only reason he's down in B tier is because his ball handle is really low. If he could handle the ball, that's like a huge knock on this card, is the fact that he gets the ball stripped a lot from him. Other than that, he is absolutely incredible. Just that ball handle, man. And it's an 86 too, but just from everything I've seen, he just gets the ball ripped a lot, and I don't know if it's like some sort of issue with his player build or if it's an issue with a glitch in the game, but he seems to get stripped more than any other shooting guard from what I've seen. That being said, he has absolutely elite badges, man. He does have a lack of defensive badges as well, which kind of sucks, but everything else is elite, and he's a rim running god. That being said, I don't think he's better than Tracy Mcgrady personally. You can give him clamps and stuff, so he might be a little bit better, but I think he's probably upper echelon of B tier. He possibly might move up to A, but I think B tier is really appropriate for what he is. Oladipo, bang average, C tier. Michael Jordan, this hurts, F tier. He's just not a good card, straight up. He's not. Barnett, if you can get his jump shot timing down, I would say C tier, but the reason I'm putting him in D tier is because he's got such a weird jump shot that it's hard for a lot of people to just pick this card up and use it. Once you get used to it, he's absolutely C, or even you could argue B tier. But I'm just going off of, if you pick this guy up, is he going to be this kind of card right away? Barnett's going to be D tier just because he's going to be really hard to get used to. And there's just so many better options that you can pick right up and use. Is he actually better than Desmond Mason and DeMar DeRozan? Possibly. At certain things, yes. So I would say he's upper echelon of D tier. Paul Westfall. Man, Paul Westfall is actually really good. I would put him B tier. No, I put him C tier. I can't put him B tier. These guys are all better than him. He's really good. I'd play him at the point guard. He's just a Pete Maravich clone, but he's a worse Pete Maravich clone. Phil Chenier. Dude, Phil Chenier is really good. He's really good. I don't know. I might put him in C tier for now, but he might go up. This card's actually ridiculous. He doesn't look like he'll be good, but he is. He's got spotty hot zones. He's got 9 Hoff badges, most of them finishing badges, and playmaking badges. He lacks some defensive badges, but you can give it to him. He's got a decent shot. He's got jump shot 4, which is Connie Hawkins, Devin Booker, Latrell Sprewell. So it depends how you feel about that. He doesn't have great tendencies. That's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I'll probably keep him in C tier just because he's lacking a few things from these guys. Oh, Donovan Mitchell's B tier, though. Donovan Mitchell's absolutely one of the best cards in this game. It's not even close. Not even just Amethyst. He's one of the best cards in this game, period. Straight up. Marcus Smart, he gets a step up above Tony Allen and Hornacek, because in addition to playing defense, he can shoot a little bit too. Brandon Roy is B tier. I don't care what anyone says. Brandon Roy is absolutely B tier. He's a little worse version of Tracy McGrady. That's it. He's absolutely great. Doug Christie. I think Doug Christie and Steve Smith deserve to be right next to each other. I think Michael Cooper is definitely superior to these guys, but these guys are actually pretty decent too. They're just 3-and-D guys. That's it. Allen Houston. Allen Houston, I still think is a better version of Kyle Korver, because he does bring a little bit more to your team on offense and a little bit more on defense. But he's on the lower end of C tier, and this is one of my favorite cards in the game. Otis Birdsong, B tier. He's so good. Literally so good. I'm mad I didn't get him. He's so good. Doug Collins, just a decent shooting guard. Nothing crazy. Drozdin Petrovic, he's really good, but he deserves to be C tier. He just shoots the ball really well. He's like a very, very apex version of like Kyle Korver. But he's good though. Duncan Robinson, I like Duncan Robinson, but like I'm not gonna sit here and kid you and say that he's any better than D tier. Like he's just not, period. Eddie Johnson, he's got big size and a decent shot. That's about it. D tier. Richie Guerin. Alright, he's not as good as Donovan Mitchell. He's C tier. He's a good shooting guard. He's a really good offensive shooting guard. He plays a little bit of defense. He works better at the point guard. Like, personally, I'd probably rather use him than Allen Iverson, but that's just me. Eric Gordon. I really like Eric Gordon, but I think it's time to drop him down to D tier, personally. Just because the shooting guard options up in C. You know what? That's tough, man. I think Nick Anderson's way better than him. Nick Anderson and Richie Guerin are both way better than Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's just a good shooter. He deserves to go right over here. I will say he's better than all of these guys. Like, all of these shooter guys, he's definitely better than them. But it seems appropriate to go to D tier. Gail Goodrich, he's decent. I mean, C tier. Like, realistically, I can't really say anything bad about him. Same with Hershey Hawkins. He's pretty good. He's got good badges. Plays well. Isaiah Rider is so good. I can't put him in B tier, but C tier, he is so good, man. I love Isaiah Rider, dude. Adrian Dantley's F tier. He's like literally one of the worst cards in this entire game. I promise. It's not me being ridiculous. James Harden. James Harden's kind of tough to rank, man. Like, he might be A tier because he really is that good. Like, these possessed cards that they released on Halloween are so stupidly good. Like, the three, him, Vince Carter, and LeBron are so good. Yeah, I don't know. They might go out. I might move another guy up to S tier, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure. I don't think Tracy McGrady, Monte Ellis, or James Harden deserve to go into S tier. So it's hard. JR does, but that's about it. James Silas is D tier. He's just not good anymore at this stage in the game. He's not. He runs rim really well. He's really fast, but that's about all he does. To be honest, just the way I play, I'm probably taking a lot of these guys over him. Pete Maravich is C tier. Him and Paul Westfall deserve to be kind of right next to each other. I like him, but I can't argue that. Jaylen Brown. I like Jaylen Brown a lot, but he's just a 3-and-D cone, essentially, that can also dunk a little bit. It's hard to really tell if he's that much better than some of these guys at B tier, so that's why I'm putting him there. Just know I like Jaylen Brown a lot, but it's hard to really say, like, does having Jaylen Brown make your team significantly better right off, like, immediately? I don't think so. I mean, it does. It definitely makes your team better. But are you going to notice a massive difference? Like, are you going to be able to put Jaylen Brown on your starting lineup and immediately start winning more games? I don't think so. Personally, I think you'll be able to put J.R. Smith on your lineup and immediately start winning games because he'll bring so much to your offense immediately. I just don't know if any of these guys in B tier, just without practicing, immediately make your team better. Like, I think James Harden does. I think Monte Ellis does because he brings like a whole new aspect to your team. I just don't know if Jaylen Brown does. That being said, I would put him at the absolute top of B tier because I love this Jaylen Brown card. But I got to be objective. I don't think he's really A or S tier at this point. Next up, we got John Starks. John Starks is like the perfect point guard, man. He's so good. He's good at almost everything. I would have to put him at B tier too. I don't like John Starks. I fucking hate him in real life, but this card is really good. Kerry Kittles. Sorry, man. D tier. He's all right. Kevin Martin, C tier. It's Kevin Martin, dude. You used him in 2K before. You know how Kevin Martin operates. Klay Thompson. I honestly think Klay Thompson is one of the best pure shooters in this entire game, and you'll play against people online with Klay Thompson, and they literally will not miss three-pointers with him. He's fake as shit. I think he deserves to be in B tier. All these B tier guys are incredible at shooting guard. You can get away with using every single one of them against top-tier players. Ray Allen, man. To be honest with you, I think he's S tier. Like, I don't like this Ray Allen card. I really don't. But here's my thing, is the Ray Allen jump shot itself is going to be one of the best jump shots in the entire game. Because it makes the most slightly late, slightly earlys out of every jump shot in the game. That being said, he's got a 96 three-pointer, which is huge, but he's also got like an 80 driving dunk, so he can rim run a little bit. He's got decent speed. He plays good defense, which is huge. He has like all the important defensive badges. He doesn't have a lot of playmaking badges, but just no other card has the shooting badges and the jump shot that Ray Allen has in this game, and just that alone puts him into S tier. Because if you play against someone and they have Ray Allen, you instantaneously cannot sag off any of the shooters, and he brings that element to the team. So, like, you know how much it pains me to put him over Tracy Mcgrady? It fucking hurts, dude. But I have to. It's just hard to even say. Kobe Bryant. C tier. I'm not a huge fan of Kobe in this game, but like this card specifically, just because it's outdated. And when he released, the game was all fucked up, so we didn't really get to truly appreciate it. Like, I'm sure I would have better opinions on this card if the game played the way it does now when this card released, when the clutch packs released. But back then, it was all about moving, fade away, shot aiming, three-pointers, and ridiculous rim running. He didn't really do either of those things well. So, Marquise Johnson, C. I mean, I hate this card, but he's C tier. Michael Jordan, D. This Michael Jordan's D. They don't shoot. They play decent defense, but they don't even have great defensive badges. They were really good when they came out, but it's just too late now. But this Michael Jordan, on the other hand, deserves to go in B tier. B tier on shooting guards is a lot bigger than it is on most of the list, but this Michael Jordan's really good. He's got a little shot. His hot zone aren't great, but he's almost unstoppable at running the rim. He plays probably the most lockdown defense out of any of the shooting guards I talked about. Like, he's better defensively than Jaylen Brown. And he can operate as the primary ball handler with great playmaking badges. Like, Michael Jordan is fucking good, dude. He's not worth the price, but he is good. Michael Redd, dude, Michael Redd's hard to place, man. I want to put him at B tier because I really like Michael Redd, but realistically, all he really can do is shoot and drive a little bit and play a tiny bit of defense, so it's kind of hard to really say that he's deserving of being in B tier because I don't think he is. But just know, if this is my bias list, I'm putting him in B or A. This card's fucking incredible, but at the same time, does he automatically come to your team and make a huge difference? Does your team get better just by adding Michael Redd? Possibly a little bit, but more than likely, not really. So B tier or C tier is where he deserves to be. Mitch Richmond, sorry buddy, I miss you, but you're down in D tier. You just lack a lot. Bingo Smith, C tier. He's actually pretty good. I thought he was gonna be bad because he's used to him playing point guard from last year, but he's actually decent at shooting guard. Plus he's got that dynamic duo with Austin Carr that makes them both way better. Ray Allen. There you go, Ray Allen. Sorry buddy, D. Alright, next one, Rex Chapman. Here's the thing. Okay, let's be real here. Does Rex Chapman deserve C tier? Possibly. You could argue with me that he deserves to be in C tier, and no way, shape, or form will you argue me that he deserves to be either in D or F tier. You could make a case that he deserves to be in A tier. B tier. Let me explain before I end this video. Rex Chapman and Devin Booker have almost identical stats and badges, right? Not only that, Rex Chapman has Ray Allen base. It literally makes the most slightly lates and slightly earlys in the game, and it's relatively easy to green. His jump shot is absolutely elite. He runs the rim. You can make him play defense. He has a dynamic duo with Tom Gugliotta. Most importantly, you can buy this man for 2,000 MT, and does he make your team significantly better? Like your 5-man lineup that you go into unlimited with? Maybe a little. Does he make every other possible lineup that you could run in the entire game better? Yes. Your TTO lineup, better. Possible limited runs, better. Against the CPU, yes, better. He's an absolutely incredible card. Will I say that he is the lowest ranked in B tier? Yes. Can I put him in C tier? Fuck no, absolutely not. I love this card. So anyways, guys, that's the list. It's been your boy Cheap Ludes. Check my description for all my stuff, Patreon, etc., all that good stuff. I'll be back tomorrow with small forward, power forward, center. So check those lists out. Comment down below what you agreed with and didn't agree with on the list down below in the comments. Other than that, if you got anything else to say in the comments, do a comment. I usually respond unless you're mean. And then sometimes I'll respond then too. So other than that, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes, and I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, man, drop a like, comment down below. Subscribe if you're new. Like I said, I appreciate you guys.